more pressure on No-Tail, right, to be able to carry through the game. Whereas I think MVP Phoenix is kind of full on QO.
Okay, 30 seconds to go. Charlie, you said this was 2-0 to OG. You're already wrong.
Oh, yeah, I'm out. It's okay. It happens sometimes. I'm not a psychic.
Well, we expect more from you, Charlie. I'm sorry. We want psychic powers from now on. Cap, very quickly, you went 2-1. Are you still okay with that?
I will still.
You think OG can take 2 in a row now?
I will stay with that, but MVP Phoenix, if they do win, it would be 2-0, right? I don't think they can bounce back from losing a game.
All right, Ted, you went for the same score.
I went for 2-1.
Yeah.
I think OG, that was a wake-up call. They can do it.
Okay. Time for game 2, ladies and gentlemen, as we get into the second draft of the international main event.
10 seconds remaining.
Hello everybody and welcome back. We're about to hop right into action here. It's OG versus MVP. We have a game 2 draft underway, so let's go ahead and get into it. I got my experts back by my side. We got Draskell, we got Black, we got Winter. OG shaking up a bit after game number 1, going against that huge raw talent from MVP and their, you know, what were they saying, caveman tactics. What did OG need to change up coming into game 2?
I think Darkseer was a very key hero the last game for them, because if you look at the off-lane position, there's not many heroes that can keep constantly fighting, and you buy mech for your team, and you don't rely on cooldown. Darkseer is one of the key heroes I feel that allows that playstyle. You can sort of replace it with a Slardar. You don't need like a blink, but you can't really blink. You can't really get a mech on Slardar, but you can keep fighting with your team, that's of course.
We've spoken about it before here. How can you make a 5 melee lineup work? Like, pick a hero like Darkseer that pretty much just makes sure as soon as you're close to them, you deal a crap ton of damage, and that's literally what they did.
Ooh,
and they do go back to the Naga this game.
We talked about it because we were deciding, you know, are they going to let the IO through or are they going to let the Naga through? And it being first pick, MVP actually decided to take the Void, which I guess when you know that both teams can play Huskar, it's a little bit daunting to pick Naga in the first phase, because then you have to decide, you know, during that point, do you actually want to get rid of it or not?
It might be support though. There was one game against Wings, they actually ran a Naga support. The idea behind the support Naga was to counter the bubble. You come in with the chrono and you go with the sleep and they don't do anything.
Yeah, you counter initiate.
Yeah, wonderful disengage, and now OG kind of have that feather in the cap where they can show a bit of flexibility. So MVP are going to have to consider both options for that Naga moving forward. Second pick, they're going to go right to the Alchemist.
They are anticipating that the Naga will be core, because basically the Naga playstyle, you want to split push and you want to pressure lanes. Heroes that can deal with that will be Alchemist, Meepo, Tinker, even Anti-Mage.
So, Alchemist is a hero that can really punish the Naga Siren, because you're online like 2 times as fast. You have your Radiance, you have your Armlet like minute 13, 14, if you have a good matchup, which you will have if the Naga is really middle.
Minute 25 I would say, like the Naga, if you have sorry, not the Naga, the Alchemist will have all his items, if you have a pretty good game.
Yeah. And then you see it's high ground and the Naga Siren team really can't do anything about it.
She's not ready yet at that time. She needs to be ready maybe by minute 30 to 40, and Alchemist is just way faster than that.
Now your theory crafting, that's the potential if it's going to be a Naga core and they have to match up in that department. Do you think it could be an OG's best to keep it in a support position? Maybe look to take the game in more fast pace or something to, you know, make sure the Alchemist doesn't have a good time?
It's definitely possible. I mean, like Winter said, if it's in the support position, it still counters the Void anyway. So you can just look for something that's going to pressure the lanes a little bit more, like take what MVP's approach was in the group stage to Alch, and just go for something that's very lane dominant, and you can just like roam around, like maybe even get Air Spirit again for crit during the early game. If it's, oh wait, is it him who plays Naga?
Yeah, it was him who played Naga.
Yeah, it was him who plays Naga, so maybe you're going to need something else then, maybe just a good matchup against the Alchemist.
I just feel like if you really give credit to Naga Siren, he's not on this like comfortable playstyle, because Naga Siren is not like an Earth Spirit or an Elder Titan where you can really like just counter gank and gank yourself. You're more like a static puller, you want to get level 6 really fast to be able to counter initiate.
I think against Alchemist, you think it's not so good, right? Like if you do that against Alchemist.
Because Naga Siren really doesn't offer any damage. Like how are you gonna kill this Alchemist with a support Naga Siren?
You want like an ogre, like you run at the Alchemist lane and you throw your ignite on him and you just run him down and you force him out of the lane, you force him to the jungle and you just constantly follow him and you make sure that the first 5 minutes of the game, he doesn't get much.
Interesting to see that, yeah, Ogre has been completely ignored up to this point. We didn't even get to see it in the previous game here, but...
I mean, they have Bat Rider. Bat Rider and Ogre is very good together.
Yeah. OG though, finishing out that second phase of bans. They'd already got rid of the Lich, they get rid of the Axe, MVP, say no AA, and we don't even want to see that Huskar.
Yeah, the Axe was a very good sign for MVP, because MVP, they took out the AA first because they had Alchemist, but then OG was like, oh, AA is out, maybe we could sneak a Huskar in there. And they banned out the Axe because Axe is pretty good at dealing with Huskar, and Desert's still on the pull, so immediately MVP reacts, oh, no Huskar shenanigans now, OG. We're not gonna deal with that.
Yeah.
So does that remove one of OG's best chances on taking a game where they could ramp it up early and go faster than the Alchemist would like?
Husker would be really good against Alchemist in the lane and in the game itself, because you snowball faster, you get the armor and keep running at the enemy.
And the life break literally just removes half his health. Just like one of the Alchemist's strong points, that he's that tanky and just like take off half his HP in one moment and he can just die really fast.
And then now they get their hands on the Oracle, which is obviously a good counter against the Bat Rider anyway, so obviously MVP still could have done something with that. It's actually sick with Alchemist, because you throw out the ultimate on him, and then when he has Chemical Rage going, if you don't have like an insane amount of burst damage, you just flat out can't kill the hero.
I mean, you heal about what, 1.8k in that time, I think, in total? Or like,
what's it? His level 3 ult's like 100 health a second, and then you get it doubled during the False Promise, and it's not including Purifying Flames, so yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of healing.
Basically what MVP needs right now with their draft, they have a very heroes that farm really quickly, Alchemist, and they have Chrono, but they don't have follow-up. They need follow-up damage for the Chrono right now. They're gonna go for the Venge, which deals with the Lasso, but still doesn't provide the team with too much instant burst damage in team fights.
Two ways MVP could take this from here. They could go high ground with like just defend high ground and go really late game with 4 like really good Agons upgrades.
Lineup,
something like that, where you just like stay high ground, you get like 4 really good Agon upgrades.
Did they play that way? Do you think the MVP or the
I
don't think that as MVP really. They can work.
No, maybe Shadow Demon Alchemist. You hit a point by 25 minutes, you siege high ground. Maybe that would be probably.
I was kind of surprised they didn't pick the Shadow Demon instead of Venge. Although they could be looking for more Roshan potential, their team is pretty weak at it right now. Maybe they just want something for that.
It could still be possible to pick the SD on top of the Venge. Like the support duo is pretty good. We have 2 saves against Bad Rider. It's like not the worst. Definitely not, you know, something you're really
This junction is very important for OG. They are deciding whether we're going to stick with the core Naga or we're going to put Naga as support. It's extremely crucial for them to make that decision right now. Can we outlast the enemy till the Naga gets to a point where, oh, Naga is online now, there's not much you can do, we're going to dictate the pace of the game.
Yeah, and then you're already going to be knowing you're going against the Void's Chrono, a way for them to bail out the Alchemist with the Vengeful Spirit. It's going to be a tough task.
You can't really run Oracle Naga supports though, right? You have like no kill potential. You have no kill potential
not.
at all. This
You
Alchemist
can't pressure the Alchemist.
I mean, but there's a chance you run the Naga as like a ogre. You roam the Naga early and you help the lanes with the Naga roam early, like with the illusions, and you block camps. I've seen them do it before. So with the Terrorblade pickup, I think it more or less tells her that Naga should be support.
Yeah,
it has to be. Like you can't run TB and Naga in one lineup. And
yeah, but then I think with their setup, the Naga might have to help the Bat Rider a lot more on the offlane. You need to be able to get the Bat Rider blink, because all the other heroes don't really have any points in the game where you can create tempo for your team apart from the Bat Rider with blink.
We've seen it a lot on tier 5. There was Naga dual offlanes, and Naga Siren is one of the strongest supports to go dual offlane.
A lot of armor, you know.
Yeah, a lot of armor. It's very tanky. That Riptide level 1 deals a lot of damage, and Bat Rider Naga in general is like a very good lane.
300% them though that it's not for sure that Faceless Void's even going to be safe lane. It could be off lane.
Yeah, but
you don't know what you're going against.
But I think you would favor like the Bat Rider Naga duel off lane together right now for OG.
Yeah, if it's support, I think it's strong.
They need to bring on the pressure. Like they need to pressure this Alchemist somehow, and make sure they can do that. They need to keep the safe lane down.
Yeah, you know one more thing like the Naga in the offlane can do is like you constantly spam illusions. You can use the illusions to stack the camp near the ancients for the bat, so he can clear it later. So it allows your team to be much more efficient in experience.
Yeah.
They'll still need someone to round the whole thing out to be able to have damage for the Alchemist, let's say. So we'll have to see what they decide to do. But we go back to MVP now. Something to kind of get that one piece in their puzzle right now. Now that you see Terrorblade, you even see a Naga, do you have to start considering options to be able to deal with this heavy dark army that could be coming with your way?
Yeah, you need a hero that can kill illusions quickly. Like Alchemist doesn't do it until the later part of the game. Usually you talk about Battle Fury, you know, like heroes that can clear illusions, or even you talk about Koppel, which is your favorite
Commander.
hero. Legion Commander.
This game against Bad Rider as well.
Mirana is also good with the axe, and you deal damage into the Chronosphere, so a very good pickup there by MVP.
Probably a support one though, right? Like they usually don't play it as a core. Not entirely sure on MVP side.
But
I haven't seen him play much Mirana actually.
Don't you like Mirana as a core this game, or you still prefer support Mirana?
I think a support Mirana is really good with the Void in general because you can set up a really easy arrow. But of course, as core it's really good too because you have a lot of speed. Then you have an Alchemist that can't really give you an Agonist because you want to buy one yourself really fast.
Yep, so the Shadow Demon banned by OG, they're really good. That would have been a Very good last pick for MVP with the heroes.
Would have rounded up
My
the whole
only
lineup.
worry right now for MVP and having the Mirana is that you already have Alk and you already have Void. You already have a lot of the space on the map contributed to those heroes, so if the Mirana is supposed to be helping clear out illusions, it's going to take a lot longer to get to the Aghanim space.
So you would prefer
5
core
seconds
instead of
remaining.
support.
I would prefer core, personally.
I would really like to see, like, Legion Commander I think is really good this game. Instead of the support Mirana, I would have liked to see maybe a Coddle would have been really good here. The Mana League is incredibly good against those heroes, and Blinding Light as well.
Yeah, Blinding Light and Illuminate is very good versus Illusions.
Yeah. We'll see what they go for here. They could still run in this support, they could have support, and we'll see it.
I mean, it's very open, like, even though we might not like the Mirana support, but they could still
5
technically
seconds
run it.
remaining.
Like,
I mean, it can work for sure.
It can work, yeah. They could also duel off their Mirana, is always pressuring middle a lot. To help the Alchemist out is a possibility.
they don't really have that great heroes to zone the Void as well, so the Mirana roaming around early could help the Void get kills if you land arrows. Like, Oracle alone is not very good at zoning, like, with the Terrorblade. Not very good at zoning Void, if Void is off lane.
OG need a hero middle that can really deal with the Alchemist mid late game. They need damage, and right now they don't have it. And Timbersaw is not.
I was just gonna say he's still out there.
Yeah, like he's a really good choice, but they have
Oh, it's
faces
gonna
with
be
it,
the
so they do
Venom.
go for the Venom.
Is this the safe lane Venom? I've seen,
MP runs that a lot.
yeah, you build a lineup around the Aghanims, even though we are not so convinced that MVP would run this sort of lineup, but their lineup works really well with the Alchemist.
Yeah. Like the Timbersaw that we spoke about wouldn't be
10
terrible, but
seconds
obviously like
remaining.
Faces Void is a hard counter, but other than Faces Void they don't really have much to deal with him. He can
5
go hood and then he doesn't really
seconds
care
remaining.
about any of their damage.
MVP's Teamfight Runner is super scary.
Oh,
for the
Old Dirty
power.
comes out, the 5th pick for OG.
Hard lane counter, definitely a hard lane counter for OG, so I think it's pretty good. I'm actually going to say OG for me, slight advantage here in game 2 for the draft.
Possibly game 3.
Yeah, I think game 3 is probably on the way.
Black winner.
No time for OG to farm. MVP is gonna take this.
Yeah, I think MVP is gonna win too because this Alchemist they just can't keep him in check.
Fair enough, gentlemen. With that, we've concluded our draft. So why don't we go ahead and we'll throw things over to our two casters to take it away for game 2 of OG versus MVP. It's Toby Wan and Merlini.
The situation, we were wondering if we'll be in MVP. The ability to take one game off OG. They've done so. Can they wrap it up 2-0? Is it possible with this draft? The panel doesn't seem to have that much faith
10
in OG.
seconds remaining.
I like the Alchemist here. They really don't have the typical roamers on crit to
5
actually
seconds
pressure him,
remaining.
steal the jungle stack. So I think MVP, this is the lineup that maybe not they're used to the whole entire time, but it's definitely good worse than what OG has.
Man, I can't wait to see it going down on the map right now. Seeing an OD in action once again. We were lucky enough to get him once, I
Prepare
think,
for
during the
battle.
group stage. It is all about a whole new time. See how the presence of crit is able to be on the map, as the panel was also saying. It's a lot more of a passive kind of support for him as opposed to that big action-making Naga. But he's already getting 2 very early wards down. So they're able to watch the camps on the top. They're watching the mid lane, and OG. Can you even turn this into a farm game? You can't keep the Alchemist in check, but normally the best way to bring an Alchemist down is 1, control runes, and 2, keep ganking him in the mid. Is this even possible with OG's lineup?
They don't really have a good setup with the OD. The last time they ran to OD, I believe they had a Mirana in their lineup, so this way they could just have one hero in the middle lane and have a ton of kill potential. This time, like, you really want to combo with a Naga and or an Oracle. There doesn't really seem to be that synergy that they had last time with the OD.
30
On top of that, last time they
seconds to
played OD, they also had a Drow Ranger, so you could ensure that mid lane would be an easy time for Miracle.
But this time they don't have that, so Miracle will just have to rely on all of his skill to try and win a lane, which just looks like he shouldn't be winning it up against QO, because normally QO is just like, hey, I just get a bounty rune and lane is 1, right? So just move on from there.
It really depends on the Naga. I think Crit is the most important hero on OG, at least in the first 15 minutes. He sets up the framework, he can slow down the Alchemist, he can make sure that OG has a good time, but if he doesn't, if OG are too passive, if they miss on a few of the rotations, if they don't scan out the stacks, then I think the Alchemist is just going to control this game, and you could easily turn Mirana into a core by pulling her and Ags, and I think she's one of the heroes that you wouldn't really mind pulling an Ag very early on.
Note the lane switch up, so the Venomancer will be brought into the middle lane to go up against the OD as well as the Naga, and they're pushing QO to the safe lane on the Alchemist. So they really want to make sure he's able to get that early farm.
MP already had a good block though. His range creep is dead, so even though there are 2 heroes in OG's the lane, it is going to go towards MVP's side very soon.
top lane really meant to work for Forev. Like, he's already, like, he got bursted down by Fortunes and time walked it off and now down to half-life. How's his Faceless Void meant to deal with the dual safe lane?
Make sure you buy lots of regen. Generally, it with Faceless Void, you can Iron Talon, but doesn't really seem to be the flavor for either of these two teams. Just make sure that the supports are there, know exactly what they're up to. And we already see Crit stacking up a few of the camps for Moon, and let's see if MVP are doing the same. Looks like Febby just arrowing large creeps, so he's stacking, but they're not full camps for Alchemist.
Fortune's and again going to force Forev just a little bit further back on the lane. Still got the PMS plus tangos and salves, so a lot more consumables left for him to do his thing. Moon's been getting a decent amount off this bot lane, missed timing on the pull a little bit. Oh no, he actually did manage to still bring one Hellbearer over, but Dubu's there to intercept it. Middle lane, arrow, well off target. Very well off target.
Maybe he didn't expect MP to run that way, but he was getting blocked by Crit, so he didn't really have a choice. MP's salve gets knocked off, and he's out of regen for some time to come. Chicken's all the way back in base.
Yeah, it's actually bringing out a Fairy Fire as well as a salve to him to make up for that. This will make Miracle a lot happier.
See what a 2-minute rune goes. A little bit of an important case given the Alchemist in this game, but Alchemist not interested in going to see those runes.
Loaded to the gills.
Yes, Febby's just up here to steal Centaur. Once he finishes up the Arcane Boots, then this Mirana's gonna be roaming absolutely everywhere, looking for arrows everywhere.
I wonder if he's gonna scout out the stacks or what on Febby. He's like kind of geared up towards the mid lane, maybe looking for a chicken snipe.
The Metamorphosis being triggered by No-Tel. It's that time to add some pressure towards the tier 1 tower for some kind of reaction out from MVP. But MVP may even just let that tower go down. Creep waves coming in now and forever. You just have to let it take damage.
And Crit's going in deep into the Radiant jungle. He drops a Sentry Ward. It will be out of range of Radiant.
But the arrow will connect from Febby. Dubu's got stun and Wave of Terror available as well. So there's your stun. He's looking for a mirror image. He was actually hoping to dodge the magic missiles, but unable to do so. This will help Febby, and yep, he'll take the first blood.
It was ours all along.
Nice catch by MVP. On the point with the arrows, Febby playing very well this series.
Mirana also one of the most successful heroes throughout this tournament.
So we see QO with an early win lace on the Alchemist. That's a strange build. It's usually just quelling Iron Talon optional with Soul Ring and Armlet into Radiance, but
I would say like to run from bottom lane to bottom rune quicker.
People get phase boost on Medusa to speed up the farming. Like getting more move speed so you can farm faster is definitely a thing, especially when you consider people picking up Yasha all the time. I don't know if it's worth it. It looks like he's actually going to skip over the Soul Ring.
That armor that up.
Yeah, they need to start stacking the Ancients though. OG are maybe expecting it with the Observer Ward on the high ground, but I don't see any stacks on MVP's left side of the map.
Dire's top tower is under
You wonder if the Venom Mans could even do that. Time it with the attack of the Plague Ward.
Oh yeah, he could easily do it. If you don't have your Plague Ward's auto attack, you can easily micro it.
Moon's about to take his first stack of the game. So he's trying to get that flash farm into the Battle Rider, get the drums completed. Very important as well when Moon goes for this kind of build. Have progression from drums into that Blink Dagger. Needs to have himself a very good game. A very passive start. Compared to our last game, this is very, very slow compared to our last game.
Yeah, MVP have shown that they run different multiple styles, especially during the group stage, but a lot of it was not met with success. Febby narrowly misses an arrow in the mid lane, and it's a different pace for them, but sometimes I think they just make a crucial mistake just because they aren't super comfortable with the playstyle. Like last game, they know how to fight as 5 all the time, all game long.
Top lane for Rev. They're trying to bait out his time walk so they can lock him in and fly distance with a nuke. Hits the Fortune's end, but Faceless Void's already away. A couple of stick charges up his sleeve as well. And crit and snare for Rev. Doesn't actually have time walk away with the range damage of No-Tel. They're going to reach him 1 second. Wasn't even that, it was like a fraction of a second.
Very nice positioning by Crit, and now the tower pushing starts with the meta and the Basilius at the ready. And they're desperately trying to defend this. Vengeful Spirit trying to come in with a wave to slow down this push, but Glyph is down. This tower is certainly dead.
Yeah, they burned that Glyph very early on, back when No-Tel first triggered that Metamorphosis of his. It's a good for OG, some extra money coming their way. This actually puts them back in the lead of the net worth. Obviously, that's a very hard lead to hold on to when you've got an Alchemist who's now taking stacks inside the Radiant jungle. So he's very lucky because he got the Mud Golems too.
And Satyrs. Satyrs are pretty good. Those Centaur camps.
The more units, the better.
Oh, not that much stacking on the left side of the map. Riser's like not a Plague Ward up there. You know, Dubu's not really around there. Maybe he might get it with a wave, but it doesn't look like he's even going towards the stack. That's what Alchemist is meant to do. And you see Kyo trying to stack up with the Acid Spray, but just a little bit too late, and they're not well oiled in this sort of game.
Still at the same time, we were saying like early on, OG need to do something about the Alch, need to be doing something about the rest of the lanes of MVP, but
we see early smoke from Crit. They want to do that. They have 2 Observer Wards on him. They typically do this like 4 to 7 minutes, I would say.
Well, they're going to find the time to gank up mid. What they may not realize is the Alchemist is in the neighborhood. And Crit, well, there's your ensnare, moving to MP, Dubu. Arrow flies forward, missed absolutely everything, but Miracle's already so low. Defensive imprisonment will allow him to survive a little bit longer. MP locked in, now the Chrono! It hits 3 heroes! Forever will come back out, but he got more of his teammates than he did the enemy. He still may have enough damage. With Alchemist QO arriving, there'll be a 3-for-3 trade-off. Moon will come in too, lassoing back the chemically raged up Alchemist. He won't really achieve that much with this. Maybe a couple of sticky napalm stacks, but that's all. And for Rev, well, the Chrono not working perfectly for him, but still an even trade.
Nice that QO was there. He actually picked up a double kill. And a nice stun coming out on Miracle. They saw the Vengeful Spirit there. Maybe they thought it was an illusion with the way that she was playing, but nice. I don't even know if I want to call it nice Chrono Spirit coming out, but they just get destroyed by this thing. These Eclipse.
Had some good damage from either side, and maybe next Chrono. Boy catching teammates back to live.
So now they're finally starting the stacking game. Dubu tries to stack up, but there's already an Observer Ward there. They're much too late to stack the stacking game, and Kuo's gonna have to fend for himself, but he's still on pace for a pretty quick Armlet Radiance.
Amazing how much space they can get on bottom lane. Dubu should have seen that ward going down from Crit. MP, a little bit too far out in mid lane. We'll need a little bit of help. Wave of Terror won't be enough. You need to swap the stun on Moon, keeping him back, but not back far enough. Damage from Fly is just too high. 3 levels up in that Purifying Flames. So they get the kill on the mid. You're still having Varev getting a lot of CS up on the top. The Alchemist continued to farm as well. Already finished up that Armlet and up to another 1200.
I don't think the Venom Advancer should feel this vulnerable in the mid lane. Like, the wards aren't really scouting out properly.
Another wayward arrow from Febby. Hotel keeps the push going. MVP, they're bringing in support.
They need to defend the tower. This is...
Oh, they need to keep Febby alive. Moon can just go straight for the lasso. The nukes are easily there. Miracle with the extra orb damage, find these kills. NoG very happy to use ability after ability. This is one of those other combinations they had during their last OD game, was running the Oracle with it, and he can just keep purifying flaming and getting cracked on the Essence Aura. So it's never-ending mana for the Oracle.
And they have no reason to stop right now. They know that Alchemist still needs a few more minutes. He's doing a good job of stacking farming his own jungle. Moon will find him out.
Yeah, QR's got the Chemical Rage and run away from this. And then the arrow, okay, maybe Moon. A little bit too deep. Concoction prepares as well. It's a good 5 seconds. Now QR, okay, and you still got the vision, so you'll still hit Moon. But he knew there wasn't enough damage to find a kill there.
Losing that tower, though, it's terribly important for the Alchemist. Like, he needs those to farm those camps safely. And now he's quite vulnerable.
They're coming over. OD is the most obvious target. Leap forward. No! Forever! Well, the arrows are being off. The first Chrono caught 3 teammates, and now that one, well, it catches the air. Gale from MP, he does find No-Tell in a little bit too deep with the Moonlight Shadow already up. Maybe they can salvage this situation. MVP looking for the time lock with the Magic Missile. It'll help Varev to get the last hit before Febby's arrow would have ensured it. But the Chrono is not completely in vain. They do bring down the Terrorblade. OG is now preparing to attack the bottom tower.
That's just as good, though. I think killing the Terrorblade. Even better than the OD, possibly.
It seemed to be the objective anyway. Moon dragging Febby back onto the tier 1 tower, a leap away for the time dilation, leaving Moon low. But he's keeping MVP's attention towards the mid, allowing OG to keep the pressure on the bottom tier 1. And they're still not ready to fight yet, MVP. The sweet timing for them is getting that Radiance over on the Alchemist. Still need to cut the tree line too to do that farming efficiently. What Kuro has now just done.
Gonna be on par for 12, 13 minute Radiance. And I don't know though, losing all 3 of your T1s by the time that happens is certainly not ideal, and MP is very underfarmed.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That's the reason why you got an Alchemist, right?
He is, look at his net worth, he's 3rd from the bottom. Yeah, I mean, you do have an Alchemist to make up for him, but
Just give an Ag and himself down the road. You'll be fine.
you want him to have the basics. He doesn't even have the basics.
It's definitely not been a fun game for MP, but as we were saying, and the panel was saying during the draft, OG, their primary problem is still going to be that Alchemist. How do you keep him in check? An easy way is just being a lot stronger than them. The Dragonlance will be completed on no-tail once the courier brings it back, and they start up on Roshan.
Not really any point for MVP. They don't have the chrono available, not the radiance yet, but this pretty much means that Kua will get his radiance in pretty much the ideal timing for him. He's been fighting a lot, but those 2 kills to make things up.
Nice life there, Crit. Life is bringing him back up at the moment. Takes 5 players from OG, so it's just under 12 minutes. They're able to claim Roshan, putting the Aegis Immortal into the hands of the OD. And the ping's coming out for MP. Yeah, he knows he's too far out, but he needed some kind of a space to try and complete up this Veil, which looks to be his first item of purchase.
I wonder how early you pull him to Ags this game. You certainly want him to be relevant, and without an Ags, I don't think he's going to be useful at all, especially with the Oracle in the back lane. With the Fate's Edict going to be able to nullify most of his damage. Actually, I don't know. Maybe you just go all in on Alchemist, just give him his normal Manta, Octarine bots, and then go from there.
Maybe the better choice.
Yeah. Shiva's is pretty useful though. Shiva's is really good versus the Terrorblade. Gives you a lot of int versus the OD too, so maybe you even get that before the Ags.
Moonlight Shadow being triggered up by Mirana. They're not certain what OG is up to, even though they understand there's a couple of players hovering around mid. You expect this though when the tier 1 towers on both the mid and the bot lane are lost for Radiant side.
Under attack.
And OG in fact are grouping up to look to the bottom tier 1, tier 2.
Bottom tower is under attack.
Practically their entire lineup. The Alchemist does have the Radiance, is coming on the Courier now. Kuro doesn't have the life to fight, however. Even if he wants to Chemical Rage and jump down to that bottom lane. Well, okay, they are. They're going to be forced into it. The swap, the stun, not the perfect timing. There's actually the Gelston hit, but the Chrono is perfect. Miracle and Moon caught, but Crit stops the fun. The arrow will fly through, but it's still not enough. Fly brings him out. False promise on Miracle and wait for the Eclipse to connect. It won't actually do anything. They don't even need it. The damage is just too much. Even back behind the tier 2 tower, they're willing to fight. Concoction prepared by QO. Flies forward, only hits on No-Tail. No-Tail still got that saving grace of Sunder up his sleeve. So MVP not finding that sweet spot, that nice initiation.
And the ace is the Naga Siren support, just in the perfect position to stop that, and then nice place from Fly too, saving a Miracle and Moon at the same time. Not even have to expend Aegis for this.
Perfect fight for OG. 2 hero kills, MVP backs up, and then you take a tier 2 tower.
I always thought it'd be interesting if they had like hero-specific interactions in the game, like Alchemist plus, but no, I don't know. He's like, you can add some nastiness to his poison, or standing to the clips on like Ogre. He's like too stupid, so it does double damage.
That makes sense more with a Batrider and Alina together. Sticky Napalm should actually work with all the fire damage. Batrider, well, no lucky time lock for Forev. Moon, very early triggering that drum charge, just in case. Doesn't have vision on the hillside. In fact, that all belongs to MVP with the Obs and Sentry down, but OG doesn't seem really to care. They're grouping up to the mid. Metamorphosis is off cooldown, so No-Tail wishes. Yeah, and he will. Triggers it. QO with the Asprey and Wave of Terror. A lot of negative armor on that Terrorblade. Negative 8 dropping down the half-life. That's why Fly is there right behind the lines to keep giving the extra regeneration to the Terrorblade.
It's a big problem for MVP that the knows this under farm, because he's the one that's supposed to be defending the towers. They don't want QO here at this fight. Like, they want him to be like farming somewhere, like farming. Yeah. Their net worth is like very even at this point. Alchemist team rather needs to be like 4,000 or 5,000 gold ahead, but he has to be in the front line.
Lasso, he catches Forev. Now Forev does get swapped out. He's got to leap into a Chronosphere now, in fact, and he'll fight 3 heroes. No-Tail combining with a Concoction and Wave of Terror, but Fly, he still kept the life going into No-Tail's regeneration was too much. They do find the kill over on Miracle, but thanks to Aegis Immortal, it'll come straight back up. QO mopping up the pieces of the initiation of OG, and OG, in fact, okay, maybe not the greatest time. Miracle. Commitment is real. The Vengeful Spirit pops.
Maybe they thought that the Naga Siren ultimate had cooled down at that point, but it was still 50 seconds off cooldown. She is not level 11 yet, but maybe also they just wanted to make good use of the Aegis. They did get the T2 at the end of the day, but Vengeful Spirit with a very quick swap of her lasso will ensure the MVP had the upper hand in that team fight.
You were waiting for a long time too. Like the fact that they started that push into mid lane and the Firefly was on cooldown for 10 seconds when they first hit that tier 2 tower. It took them forever. In fact, to wait and go, okay, we had an opening. They should have an opening on the Alchemist if only Firefly came off cooldown 2 seconds earlier.
You were trying to make a Forev joke?
I was not making a Forev joke. But intentionally at least. But this gives MVP some space to farm again now. So we can watch this initiation once again.
So Instant Swap comes out after the lasso and a great Chronosphere. Like, look at Crit. He has 48 seconds of cooldown on his Naga Siren, and he just like kind of runs in there hoping that they won't kill anyone else and gives away a life of his own.
And they really just like walked all over him, or he walked all over them, and they're quite happy for it.
It was a strange team fight from OG.
A small opportunity. They gave one to MVP in game 1. The MVP ended up taking another team fight in the top racks off it.
The caveman mentality is rubbed off on OG. Well, QO is... He's almost doubling out the Terrorblade at this point. And the axe pulling can come soon, if you like. Pretty much any time for him. OG smoked up in the mid, looking for something. I don't know, everyone's behind the Alchemist. They do have the Faces Void up, but...
with a 3-man, 4-man smoke of OG, they can wrap around from behind.
The only reason I don't like this is because
there.
The Naga's position might be compromised.
Oh, the Firefly?
The reward. Here they go.
Now the Observer Ward's up. Now Dubu can actually break the smoke. Forev jumps in. Chrono's here. Didn't want to trigger her straight away. Now Isolate Miracle. Dubu's still alive. Caught on the edge of the Chrono, which means he will die in the middle of that time vortex. At Naga, also low on life. QO was looking for the opening, and MVP, they're split to 3 different ways. As MPU's on the run, but thanks to Moonlight Shadow, he'll get to go invis. The dust is on him, and now that will actually dissipate, but so does the Moonlight Shadow. They've got stuns, they've got ways to fight him. So the Venomancer accepts his fate, triggers the ultimate, at least keeps OG low.
They didn't even need the Naga Siren ultimate from that fight. Forev saw the Naga Siren, but she was not really close to anyone and decided to go for a solo ult on Miracle. And Q was like, screw this, I'm out. Creep.
Moon realizes also the low mana is still there for Febby, but he's waiting for a good time to initiate. Comes in close, means if Febby wants to blink him, like actually leap himself away, Moon can blink along with him with the drum charge too. Febby, he knows it too. So there's your leap away. Oh, he started his TP and cancelled it. Maybe accepting his fate. Flame Break would have stopped it anyway.
Q also TP'd the wrong creep. He could have TP'd a siege creep and maybe helped him out. Oh,
tries to stick around for the last hit in the tower. The catapult will do it. He'll time walk into the river, but the problem is he can't get out of there. Lost too much mana. Dubu will swap him up, and that'll be the saving grace. In the meantime, OD just enjoying. He's actually got 44 stolen intelligence at the moment, so he hits like a truck. Make it 52, and Crit with a Song of the Siren. They gather around QO, and ceremoniously they will execute this Alchemist. Even with the Chemical Rage, they flame break him back. QO does not have the life to survive this. And that's a double kill for Miracle. No Chronosphere available, no Alchemist unless he wants to buy back. And they're going to rotate to the top lane. Creep Wave's still a long way up, so OG will only take the tier 2 tower from that kill.
I like the MVP's game plan before, where they were just trying to stall a little bit and then just get Alchemist nice and huge. Like, OG are wasting a lot of time trying to be together as 5 and take down objectives, and there's not that many towers left for OG to take. So if they have to make a long trek to take this T2 out, you need to get something else out of it. And feeding OD 2 kills is not the way to go about it, especially when Roshan's going to respawn. But fortunately for MVP, it's almost a full 3-minute respawn.
And OG actually have the ability to look towards the tier 3 towers. Double Dragon Lance has been done, and the start of what I believe is going to be the Hurricane Pike OD is also on the way.
Really good at dealing with the Void. I think Void's... he's getting a blink, but still the fights are going to be very difficult for him. You want to catch the Oracle, you want to catch a Naga Siren, but their positioning has been pretty decent so far.
they do have an upside with Febby. There's something we've seen from a lot of the support Maranas, the ability to get a very early Aghanim Scepter. This one's probably a little later than what we've seen.
20 minutes is really good.
20 minutes is still good. Just that MVP game we cast the first day of group stages. Well, hello, goodbye, Venno. What we saw a 12-minute and a 13-minute and 18-minute Aghanim Scepter.
For outliers, Toby.
They were crazy times. Rev. Oh, potential leap forward into a Bat Rider. They have an Observer on the hill, so they knew they were up against. Looking for a better situation to fight, a better Chronosphere.
OG picking up an early gem again. Time on the Naga Siren, a much safer carrier than the Bat Rider of last game.
Good way to get that vision during the team fights with the illusions completely spread out. An MVP only now just really finding like the Moran or Ags to deal with that.
Now they realize she has a gem and trying to fight in the area that they have an Observer Ward in and maybe keep their Blink a secret. I don't think they've scouted out for it with that Observer Ward and...
both the Obs of OG were like on either side of this 3-man smoke of MVP.
They're trying to do the very long smoke though. Not even going into the river, trying to wrap around the Roshan pit on the right side where OG won't expect it. They're expecting it to come up through the rune.
The smoke lasts long enough? It's only got another maybe like 5-6 seconds left on it.
Nope.
They'll be able to slip themselves over to Roshan, but he's still not up yet.
They need smoke to get the jump though because of all these illusions. Not only Naga illusions, but also the Terrorblade can scout out, and now OG smoke at a probably better time for them. And Flores already sitting inside the pit though.
Arrow flies forward, doesn't hit any heroes. Oh no, again! Forever enough to walk Chrono! He'll have to get himself away. They imprisoned over on the Alchemist. Now lassoing back QO. The Chemical Rage again not being enough to deal with its OG damage. The Vengeful Spirit was attempting a save, but loses his life along with his core. And now this means OG can easily take the freshly spawned Roshan. This is a very, very one-sided fight. Another one for OG.
That's an air ball. MP, you take Faceless Void next game.
Maybe they just hope the Darkseid doesn't get banned out within the first two, like OG did to them in this game. No easy setups. Very difficult to hit that perfect chrono time.
They
can just see it again. That you thought you had the opening, but the Force Staff. Hurricane Pike from Miracle just too quick.
They could have even gone for more with a Naga Siren sleep. They're lucky that they didn't lose 4.
OG, they're moving up to the top lane. That Dire Observe Ward would have seen the courier going up for a shop. So actually not even doing that. It's sending a TP scroll to Febby, who's pushing out the top lane. This does stop OG from taking that remaining last out of tower of MVPs.
I wonder if you move Faceless Void lower on the Ags list because of this.
Where you push the Venomancer up? At least the Veno's got Veil and almost completed his 4-star.
I think even
but he's still the okay, yeah, double VS.
Even Marana. Then Marana can sell her Ags.
And by what? Maelstrom into something else?
Sure, why not?
Any kind of clearance will do.
And then you can bring the Alchemist up.
No, you just get the Aghanims over on the Chronosphere. 60-second cooldown. Always got it.
Having a lot of faith in your teammate.
That's, well, in a way yes, in a way no. It means you got more chronos to throw. Every chrono you don't throw, you don't catch a person in.
For Ev, it's the case even if he does throw him out.
Well, for now, you got Kuro being more selfish. He finishes up his Octarine core. You got most of what you need for the Alchemist to do his split push. It's the BTs, the Mantra, and the Octarine with the Radiance you're searching for. That keeps OG's line back all the time and creates more time for MVP to build up some kind of net worth or opportunity against OG. Blink Lasso, they found Dubu, and well, he'll hope for a swap target with a stun on Miracle. He's actually got one. The Moonlight Shadow also protecting him, but no, the Batrider Flame Break team timeout was going to be enough, and this time for Rev. Easy to Chronos will hold the game. Quick DC from the Marana, but Miracle with a self-imprisonment was the easiest Chronosphere of his life.
Definitely did.
Yeah, there's no doubt. His Hurricane Pike still on cooldown for another 3 seconds, so it's a simple swipe. Impending doom. More than one Alchemist ready to kill Miracle.
Yeah, that was a much better chrono, and he like caught Miracle near the edge. So Falcon is lovely. Ogre buddy, take him down.
Yeah. And with that OD going down, it'll be down for a while. That's actually a big kill streak too. Didn't realize again, like Miracle, he hardly died in the last game and had tons of kills. Now he's 8-1-7 on this OD. It seems to be a walk in the park without a Drow Ranger aura and without the extra Mirana helping arrows. These things just aren't there, and yet Miracle still has such a good game.
I wonder what value they see in the OD that a lot of the other teams don't, because they're, I think, the only team that picked him.
Do we then look more towards like the Oracle with his sustain?
It's alright.
Like the start of the fight, like he's putting like 5-6 purifying flames on his teammates, and they engage, and then the heal just kicks in.
But what about the one fight that Oracle dies? Then you have an OD.
Yeah.
His aura is not really that useful. He doesn't have BKB. I don't know. It seems risky. Like right now he was having a pretty good game, but look how easily he died in a well-placed Chronosphere.
And maybe that's also the other scary point, realizing that MVP, the damage is starting to build and build and build. And if this game keeps going longer, is there then a clock? We start a clock for OG. Like they got the two Dragon Lancers very early on, really good for Terrorblade, as well as the OD to attack high ground. He's terrible at that. We'll come back in. What a surprise! Miracle is dead. Back inside the game as we have resumed.
I think there's more of a timeline on OG because like they mess up, like the Veno will actually do a lot of damage with Veil and ult. He's had a terrible game thus far, but all it takes is one good fight and the Oracle dying, and they can't recover from a Veno ulti, and then you have the Radiance burn on top of the Veno ulti with a Veil, and everyone's going to tick down. Like Terribly does not have that much HP, Batfighter. Like they don't have any BKBs on the side of OG, nor do they have a pipe, so they're really reliant on the Oracle to heal up from that, and that's only one hero that we're talking about.
Maybe it's a different aspect you could look at for OG. It's the ability to find the initiation. Naga Song used aggressively as opposed to defensively, or just to reset the fight. And the pressure then being applied towards Moon. Moon's had a pretty good game so far. Blink, Force, Ether Lens, like kind of everything you want on Batrider, just shy of a BKB on him. Maybe they can find that first kill, which lets them go high ground, but then it's up to MVP. Like, do you have buyback? You've got Acid Spray, you've got Starfall now on the back of the Blink Dagger that's be purchased. So you get a very quick AoE nuke coming in from the Mirana with the double Starfall.
It'd be way better if, like, they had a Naga on MVP's team. Like, OG, what are they going to set up the Naga Sleep into? I don't think we're going to see any top plays from this game. There's not going to be, like, a song into Center Burrow Strike like we saw earlier. There's just... OG needs a lot of time to get his Arcane Orb, get them in, and then hit with a big Sanity's Eclipse. You can't lead off with it, and then even then MVP will be able to buy BKBs soon with the pace of this game.
I'd say their advantage, the fact that QO could survive for so long, would give OD time to build up those Arcane Orbs, but QO has just been exploding in this OG lineup.
Maybe you keep him alive.
Just let him stand there and let OG hold him. Down now with the Skadi completed, Aegis the Immortal. Looks like time for a push. He's still got Metamorphosis up his sleeve. Bevy's trying to push in the mid lane. The bottom lane's being pushed in by QO, so the other lane's looking good for MVP. But the top lane is the primary one, and actually OG, yep, they will continue. They're bringing all 5 in. Now the Metamorphosis to go. Fortification up for MVP. Forev starts the time dilation on the Terrorblade. Slow him down. Concoction prepares as well for QO. They're just trying to get rid of these illusions. Forev with the Moonlight Shadow also hoping for an opening. Bevy blinks in for the double Starfall. No-Town takes a lot of damage early, and now Forev, it's a triple chrono on the backlines. The Song of the Siren will help reset this fight, however. They'll group up, and then they just bail out. Vengeful Spirit swapping a nice ulti from Crit. MP, maybe has he got enough time with the last two? They drag Dubu back, but Crit, he's almost going to die. In fact, he's so low on life, he will tick count to the Venomancer. And Aegis the Immortal will bring No-Tail back to life. The defense is real from MVP, and this OG gained the first taste of MVP's fight. They may not have actually stopped it yet. No-Tail getting caught out by the Concoction, couldn't dodge it with the Mana Style. And that's going to be the Terrorblade dying twice over an MVP. Not only do they hold their top lane, they keep their tower at half life.
The high ground defense of Venomancer, he already had wards placed down at the start of the fight, and Oracle couldn't even heal everyone after that, and they had kind of just traded Chronosphere for the Song of the Siren, which is ideal for OG, but despite the Aegis, there's just too much magic damage from MVP. It's, I think, suicide to push high ground without a pipe.
Well, they need time to build that one up, but who's going to grab it? Like right now, Oracle is finishing up what looks to be an Aghanim Scepter on himself.
Maybe Batrider, I would say. Like maybe instead of the Aetherlands, he could have built one, but yeah, they're lacking in the defense department right now.
Is this also Naga as well, building an... Are we looking at double Ags?
Oh yeah, the Ags on Naga is actually a good one. I haven't really seen it too often, but they do need a way to heal up from the Venomancer ulti. However, the problem is if they use Chrono at the start of the fight, and they use Song of the Siren at the start of the fight, you're not going to be healing anyone. So it's just a very difficult ultimate to execute, and on top of that, you have to farm 3,000 more gold.
Yeah.
Dire's middle tower.
MVP supports won't have to worry about that one. The 6-slotted Alchemist just got completed. He can still upgrade his BTs and get a Moonshot, but everything else will be going into the Aghanim Scepters. And now with the effect we've seen from MP in the fights, the Aghanim Scepter looks like it will go his way. And like you lose one bad high ground push, and already OG down to the same amount of towers. That tier 2 days are very, very shortly numbered. They're going to be set down to the same amount of towers as MVP.
Well, looking to fight now. There's still 20 seconds left on Chronosphere. OG.
They're onto the Obs and Sentry, however. They'll get rid of it quickly.
They also don't have Aegis this time.
TP's coming forward. Bringing no talent to the fight. No Aegis, no Metamorphosis. On cooldown for 16 seconds. Moonlight Shadow going to allow MVP to come in closer. The Observer Ward, however, from OG very clearly saw this happen. They still want to fight around at least the extra armor that this tier 2 tower provides. They're scanning to see if MVP are moving forward, which is not the case.
MVP could win the game with this fight, though. This one of the fight is very crucial for them.
I'll see if
OG are at their weakest.
OG just needed the initiation, however, and then maybe they can hold this fight. Kuro's already triggered his Chemical Rage. And OD, okay, caught inside the Chronosphere. Song of the Siren comes out from Crit. They're trying to keep Miracle alive, but the Starfall is slowly killing him off. He has to Hurricane find himself away. Barem locking the tree until the Time Walker bring him out. OD, nice ulti. Miracle can stand his ground and try and find this one. Same with Notal. He's dashing off Thunder of Marble. Needs a hero to trigger this on. He's got it over on Forev, who Time Walked away the damage. Now Notal can go big, slowing down Dubu. They move to QO. The last Uber move will hold him there. OG, this is going to be the fight for them. 3 heroes. They're going to bring them all down. They need another one. Forever to Time Walk away. The Dire Observer Ward sees Febby down inside the river. He's just stopped. And now he'll blink up, looking for the kill. He almost found it on the Oracle, but the OG vision let them prepare for it. As Febby's on the run, but the Eclipse drops from Miracle. 4 heroes lost for MVP.
What a disastrous Chronosphere from Forev. He only got the OD, and they have an Observer Ward on the high ground the whole entire time. And it looked like Forev hoping for a lucky bash to kill the Terrorblade before he ulted, but he just gave him a free target asunder.
And here it is again, so the Chronosphere comes out.
Maybe he thought that Naga was a real Naga from what it looks like, perhaps, but
it would have been suicide to send in both your OD as well as your Naga into such a clustered area as that tree line.
Yeah, Notal doing most of the damage.
Oh, that's fine. We come back live right now as OG start knocking on the door of MVP bot lane. They still look to force the issue. The Mirana's up in 12 seconds, Alchemist in 5. So it's damage to a tier 3 tower. They probably, well, maybe with the illusions they can complete this. They're trying to Gale, Shivas, that tier 3 tower can be denied.
And OG maybe looking back to take down the recently respawned Roshan, this time with the cheese. Yeah. You can even give both OD at this point.
Third Roshan for OG seems easy, but then again, MVP are approaching a position where they will try and contest this. They won't have easy buybacks. Kuro is still short of money. He actually bought the 3 1Ks. So he's trying to finish up an Aghanim himself to be shy of it. Moon, hello! Oh, goodbye! I got himself away, a very quick blink away. Very happy he used 4 staff to get closer. OG bailing out of Roshan. Moon still has already triggered the Firefly with a haste string. I'll see Forever a little bit further down. The Naga Illusions will start their scouting too. Naga Illusions, Terrorblade Illusions, everything they've got to see MVP's movements.
Same with MVP, they're trying to use Alk Illusions, Plague Ward to get the jump on the OG supports. 2 being so crucial to take down early on in the fight.
Miracle needs to farm for a little bit. He's only a couple of hundred short of finishing up that site device. But they'll have an extra disable when Forev jumps in as an instant control to stop the Chronosphere.
I am very worried for Forev.
Doesn't really seem to be a fun game for him at all as Radiance Courier. That's a big one. They tried to keep it up. That was the purchasing of that Aghanim Scepter for a Venomancer. Also makes it very difficult for QO just to get the easy axe purchase. Doesn't really have a slot where he wants to carry around a point booster on him, so he has to wait the 3 minutes for the courier to come back up again.
Absolutely an important point for OG. I don't think MVP have any more smokes though. Not sure how they're gonna get the jump on OG. I think they can even like sleep into Scythe now, which is actually pretty devastating if you can get the Faceless Void at the start of the fight. And nothing's gonna save them from that, just except a defensive Vengeful Spirit swap or perhaps a quick blink out.
Oh, now it's time for OG. They have smoke still in stock.
The Hex can definitely catch him off guard. He doesn't have a blink though, and it's daytime.
Alchemist. Oh, he just broke the smoke on No-Tail. He ran inside the pit. No-Tail's gonna move down. Actually, was he even covered by it?
He's gonna see him with the Alpha illusion.
Yep.
Oh, they know.
Actually Riptide. So they know that things are awry, but MP, the Sentry Ward is down here as the Venomancer under the cover of Moonlight Shadow. He'll hit the Gale and a Miracle, slowing him up. I's still there to hold Miracle's hand. Concoction, but also preparing for Alchemist. Jumps forward. They're just trying to harass Miracle. The Naga Illusion's making it difficult to walk forward.
Use false promise already.
Oh, really? That's early on. Arrow's gonna fly. He needs a good hit. Moon's actually almost walking into it. They'll turn around for Ref. He's still hoping for an opportunity to leap into Chrono, but they're not finding it. Concoction stuns. OG just keep tanking them up.
Still with no Frost Promise and no Aegis, they can focus down one of the cores during the Chronosphere. Only problem is Naga Siren, is she gonna get caught or not?
Dire Orbs and Sentry being planted by OG. They want to make sure that MVP don't have vision on that hillside, but they can also just commit Plague Hordes. There's the vision to MVP. The Alchemist was thinking about having some fun with Roshan, but now he'll think no more of it. It's another 50 seconds until that Courier is back up for MVP. And they really want to get that Aghanim Scepter on the Venomancer.
G's Terrorblade is farmed.
Yeah. That is a full butterfly purchase up for No-Tail.
However, no buyback.
Sacrifice you take at a team fight. No MKB carriers over an MVP to get around the evasion. Then again, they've got a crap ton of magical damage, which could also just shred him apart if he's not careful. And on time for the Sunder.
Another smoke from OG.
Log committed early on.
Saving smokes for the most important times.
Venomancer already using Gale as well as Veil. Needs to get him out, and Moon, he jumps forward. But there's no Gem of True Sight on this Batrider, so he doesn't see the retreating heroes. That gem is back over on Crit.
He's had some really good Moonlight Shadows too. Like Venomancer would have been dead on that bottom fight had he not had Moonlight Shadow under him.
Smoke still up for OD. I think Miracle wants to go for a play. Jump forward. Innocent Hex. MP. 5 hits from Miracle. And you'll find a solo kill on MP.
Felt was my intellect.
Do MVP still want to fight? This Roshan is really important, but
it is. But without the Venomancer, okay, he's going to buy back BT forward. The Aghanim Scepter being pushed up by Q over. Moon's ready to fight. He grabs Femi. The Chronosphere catches Miracle and Moon, but now the Song of the Siren. It stops the fight for the moment. Trent will turn off the song, and now they start fighting again. No-Tail looking for the damage. Miracle, he'll be protected primarily by Fly, but MVP, they've managed to disengage. So they survive through the false promise. A nice stun on No-Tail. Even the Gale on the Miracle. He'll be 4 stars forward, looking for that hit on the Dubu. 4 stars away, the extra stuff for Edge into the fight. QO now needs to go big. No-Tail sunders away all of the life. QO so low. Miracle! The double eclipse! MP needs to push him back with Concoction, as well as the Nova connecting on Miracle. There's still not enough damage to bring down this OD, so he 4 stars forward, looking for the hit on the MP, but he just can't reach him in time.
Fight from Miracle. He just went in there. No false promise, no problem. And nice self-astral there to buy his own team some time. And Crit always with the saves on the Song of the Siren. Or Evans having a really difficult time blocking heroes down to no G well. They are not slept.
It's a nightmare game for the Faceless Void. Starting with the initial Chronospheres, Alchemist, okay. Arrow's gonna fly in, looking for a good target. 5 seconds on over on the OD. Concoction as well. Zeppy jumping in, nice damage with the Starfall, but now Moon's gonna make him pay the price. Dragged back in, a Miracle with yet another kill. They still want Roshan, but the Alchemist illusions, missed chances. OG just can't do this in peace. They're underneath the acid spray.
And he just got full HP from that Alchemist illusion. Thunder only being 40 second cooldown, why not? He was at like 34.
MVP's finally going to give this up.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They split the lanes. Remember, MVP still have a small advantage. There was momentum that was on the top lane. Q is going to try and bump that in a little bit further.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They get to see that initiation again. Miracle. The timing was just too easy. He had all the time in the world to keep attacking against QO, and then that Sunder from No-Tail. When did he follow off Eclipse?
3-man Eclipse.
It's devastating. That time you wish BKB would actually save you from the Sunder.
So Naga Siren has completed the Acceptor. 10% health per second. 7 seconds.
They have all the life, they have all the mana. He just needs to hit his level 16 on Naga. Maybe it's time to buy up a couple of tomes for her. So you can have it on a cooldown of only 1 minute.
Now they have severe issues in dealing with the Terrorblade. They've been putting most of their firepower onto the OD, but now Terrorblade combined with False Promise, Thunder, Ag's Heal from Naga. Pretty much 4 lives.
But how do you even do that? Like, you almost need to pick off one hero when they're away from OG, but you can't keep your vision up.
They don't have
the gem of OG is taking everything from them.
They need more burst on the Mirana to deal with her. Like EB Dagon, I think, would be sufficient to deal with the Terrorblade. If you do it too slowly, the Face Edict and Purifying Flames will heal them up or heal Thunder.
Now you've also got extra protection. You've got a Lotus Orb that's been picked up by Moon. So you try and go for that initiation. May just get reflected or broken.
They just don't have enough burst right now or enough lockdown.
Febby, run now. The Blink Dagger and Leap is available for him. He'll leap to start with, Blink Dagger further, and Force up, then the TP, the Flame Break! It reaches him up in the corner. Moon read it perfectly. Febby's arrow will go astray, and he understands there is no way to survive this. Moon even dancing a circle around him. Before Fly will kill Secure with the Purifying Flame.
Miracle's
now
by himself, though.
Yep, correct. However, Miracle doesn't carry by himself. There's not enough life. Mo with the swap out. Miracle still got cheese and Marble. He'll take down 2. Follow up with the imprisonment into a 3rd. Alchemist trying to help out, but now Moon has arrived. Flame Break, Miracle. The Lotus Orb, and then the cheese into the Eclipse. A triple kill for Miracle. This man, only 19 years old, but he is well over 9k at this point. Whole QO in position. Where's the attack? Miracle, wait for it. He needs more damage. He doesn't have it. He can't attack the BKB target.
MVP thought they were setting up a trap for Miracle.
With no
fast fingers on the scythe.
Exactly what we expect from him. QO too far out. Gonna get stunned, gonna get controlled. No spells on top of him. Terrorblade will find the kill. The buyback's really not there for MVP. Only Faceless Void has it. By the time the Venomancer is back up, OG may have taken 1 lane of rank, if not 2. Push is just so strong. Alchemist, Concoction, Acid Spray. Everything you've got, try and slow down OG's attack. The upside is Miracle is still terrible at bringing down Raxus. The upside for Miracle is, however, he's really great at killing off heroes, especially when QO comes this far forward. He's still got 48 stolen points of intel. The swap back for Rev, almost dying from this. But he's already found a Terrorblade kill on VS. And this will be a 2nd lane of Racked in favor of OG. MVP rallying the defenses. They spam as much as they can. The lead forward, the concoction's done. No-Tail, now 3-man chrono. Nice for Rev, but the Song of the Siren's gone. The only thing lost for OG is the Aegis the Immortal. There's 4 players grouped up. No-Tail wants to fight, make more copies, make more kills. QO surrounded by OG, and this really is OG's home. It used to belong to MVP, but they can just stand their ground as long as they want to with no tier 2 towers up. OG can just keep bringing down racks after racks. And MVP are always playing with 1 man down at least.
I will hope for them this game. Wonder what they'll do for game 3. Whether it'll be another Alk or Heavy Farmer similar or Team number 1 style. I think they have a lot more fight with the early style. They just made, like, they didn't stack that well for the Alchemist, like a lot of missed spells. When you only have like 1 big team fighting ultimate, like the Faceless Void, you have to hit those when it matters the most. And some great individual play from OG. I think Crit in particular, like not getting caught in the chronos, was huge.
That Naga Siren really did just help OG reset everything, but MVP, they're not done yet. They fight to the end. This is the MVP way. Farev, however, well, the swap back can be there with the Sun and the Miracle, so Farev can time walk off a little bit of damage, but Jugu sacrifices himself. QO trying to fight the front line. Crit comes in. There's your last Super Moon. They hold the big man in place, and they get the GG. OG will force this best of 3 into a decider.
OG.
After MVP and OG, they went hammer and tongs. This game, it seemed a lot more cool, calm, and collected from both sides. MVP slowing down the pace. Is that actually something they really wanted to do against OG? Like, I know they had the Alchemist, never, like, all the panel were going for that, but
they just didn't seem that comfortable. I think MP in particular on the Venomancer, like he played a phenomenal Faceless Void in game number 1, and then this game